when you are drowning, do not say F1, F1, because not all people are knowledgeable in IT terminologies, and not all people are knowledgeable of the internet. Next slide, ma'am. This will be this will be my last slide. When you are navigating through the virtual world or over the internet or conversing with people, what must you always remember? I still have one mouse pad. What is the message of this clip? The message is that, what? Yes, sir, what? You already decipher. You, sir, the one with crossed arms. What's the message? Message? Yes, sir. Be truthful. Although that is not the right answer, sir, I'm going to give you the mousepad. The message, sir, is whenever you navigate the virtual world or the physical world, you must always remember that not everything is what it seems. So, as promised, that is my last slide. I would like to thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something. Thank you so much.
Business with a company or the person in front of you. Ask yourself, just how much do you know them? Just how much can you trust them? After all, the business world relies on a world of trust. Your success depends on how much you know the organizations and the people you deal with. At CIBI, we've built our business on more than 30 years of trust. Trust built on foundations laid by parent company Equicom and empowered by global intelligence, local insight, and a nationwide commitment to serve our customers. CIBI provides the business and personal information that every enterprise of every size needs through state-of-the-art research tools, thorough groundwork, and refined data interpretation. CIBI's business intelligence gives you all you need to know about a business entity before you decide to do business with them. With business reports and analytics, consumer reports and trends, global trade reports, and property information, get the big picture about a company's stability, standing, and reputation based on all the small details. Trade Checking presents a profile of a company via its transaction history, payment behavior, products and services availed of, credit lines or terms, and other relevant information. Performance Checking presents a profile of a company, its transaction history, products and services sold or provided, performance evaluation, credit lines or terms, and other relevant information. Supplier accreditation highlights performance checks, track records, and financial condition of a particular company. With CIBI's people information, you're prepared with what you need to know about individual persons before you make crucial hiring or transactional decisions. Our work will enable you to control and improve the way your people work and the way you work with people, even before you start working with them. Our pre-employment screening process employs deep database checking that gathers consumer data, credit and insurance reports, and negative data, along with registration data stored in government agencies and bank loan exposure files. We also gather information from more than 20 global sources. Our identity verification process culls information on employment and character from management and human resources, as well as from colleagues, family, and friends. CIBI's groundwork involves checking records with a professional regulation commission, the National Bureau of Investigation, and other government sources. We also take a look at educational records and conduct residence checks to ensure the veracity of the individual's information. Character, residence, employment, and education. All this data comes together to form CREED, a backbone of information that will help you evaluate individuals and ensure your operational success. Our foundations and our affiliations, along with our global partnerships and nationwide service network, make us the partner of choice for leading companies whose success depends on how much they can trust the businesses and the people they work with.
We are guided by four main principles anchored on the acronym CIBI. C stands for customer driven. Our people are focused on our customers. I would stand for integrity. We act with integrity. B is we think like the owner. We be like businessmen. We establish a culture of innovation. These four guiding principles have taken the company throughout all the 30 years, and it's been the cornerstone of our principles and how we conduct business in the marketplace.
At CIBI, our intelligence becomes your information. Our know-how becomes your knowledge. And our standards of performance become part of your success. Because at CIBI, we see our own success reflected in yours. And we continue to build our own record of trust by helping you build your business on businesses and people you can trust.
And I would like to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, the person who's going to navigate and lead the panel discussion, our facilitator for this afternoon. He is the Vice President for Customer Relationship Management and Head of the Outsource and Operations Industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mitch Locsin of PLDT Alpha.
I'd like first to, before I call on our panelists, I would like to first acknowledge our new CCAP members. First is we have a group here, William Hill BPO, that's headed by Scott, Craig, Teresa, Noman, and Migel. Let's give them a big hand, please. Welcome to CCAP. We have with us IBEX Global, represented by Ian Zafra. Ian, where are you? There you are. Thank you again for joining. We have Real Page Philippines, represented by Wawet Faustino and James Nalo. Where are you? Welcome to CCAP. We also have Outsource Network, BPO. I think we have a representative here, Jason Ronario. Thank you for coming and thank you for joining the association. We have YPro. YPro, represented by Adelaide Mamua and Rashid Bata. Are you here? Thank you again for joining the association. We have also Local Phone, represented by Mark Anthony Pamo. Where are you? Welcome, sir. Ronald Fernandez and J.R. Solis. Welcome to CCAP. I hope we live up to the promise. Another new member, Cebu Telenet. This is represented by Shinzato-san. Shinzato-san, yes. And Takeda-san. Thank you for joining the association. Welcome. Did you fly in from Cebu just to attend our General Assembly? Wow. Thank you again. We have also a new member, of course, Telstra International Philippines, the new captive of Telstra BPO. Welcome to CCAP. We also have another one. This is our 10th member, new member, Taskas BPO. Taskas BPO just joined a couple of weeks back. So in behalf of the CCAP Board of Directors, I would like to give you a warm welcome to the Contact Center Association of the Philippines. I actually had the membership and events committee, so if there's anything you need, please feel free to shout. I'm known to be a fixer in anything that you need, so just let me know. Okay, So I think it's high time that we start with our panel. So I'm gonna start, of course, by calling our panelists. Our first panelist is Assistant Secretary, yes, Assistant Secretary of the Department of Justice. Let's give him a big warm of welcome, please. Mr. Hieronimo C. Welcome, Asek. I'd like to welcome, of course, our speaker earlier, Executive Officer of the NBI, or the National Bureau of Investigation, Mr. Victor Lorenzo. Sir, please. I'd like to call on also one of our speakers. He is Vice President and Head of Enterprise Strategic Solutions of PLDT Alpha, Mr. John Gonzalez. My last two panelists, I'd like to call on a good friend, Associate Director of Network and System Services. He's representing a BPO, one of our BPO panelists for the panel, Mr. Jay Gomez. Let's give him more, come on. Yeah. He's a friend, so I can joke around. And last panelist, he is the Group Head of Digital Infra Asset Protection from EPLDT, Mr. Jong Ilamparo. Jong, welcome.
Time is short because the monsoon rains are here, so better start rolling. I'm going to treat this as a karaoke session and start with the mic. A couple of things. One is we are ready to issue a set of standardized forms or templates for all people in contact center, BPO industry, that you can report crimes online, of which the company details will be redacted. It will not be shared unless there is a specific need for it. No? We're ready to do that moving forward. The implementing rules and regulations of the Cybercrime Prevention Act have been endorsed to the DOST and DILG. Hopefully this will be signed soon, and once those are signed, the Cybercrime Prevention Act will be fully implemented already. And the important part of this is, out of the 3 major penal violations, the first chunk deals with cybersecurity, hacking, offenses against the integrity, confidentiality of data. And moving forward, the Office of Cybercrime is fully budgeted already for 2015. We have 15 dedicated investigators, agents, and staff just to look at cybercrime. Last month, we already activated a work stream dedicated on cybersecurity. It's called the CSIRT, of which the IT people will be familiar with. It's the Computer Security Incident Response Team of the Justice Department, and that is also a major work stream. The last work stream which we will develop towards the end of the year is the data privacy work stream. The other work streams that, for your information, the first work stream is on online child protection. That is something we don't compromise on, the abuse of women and children. And last month, we successfully had the NTC issue rules against telcos implementing filtering or blocking software for those contraband contraband floating in our internet. The second work stream is on network security. This is focused on our critical infrastructure. We work closely with the government agencies. The third work stream is on business fraud. This is protection of consumers and SMEs when you buy a bag and you end up being delivered something else. No? So those are some of the work streams that we have developed. And I look at this forum as not as a one-off activity, but as a continued engagement, both on the agency level, or if a company you have specific concerns, you can always look for Vic. And on a personal basis, if you happen to be a victim of sextortion, anyone here who has been victimized by sextortion? Sextortion is not only for men. Huh? I've seen several cases where women have been sexually extorted. No? So if you have individual issues like that, just knock on our doors. We'll see what we can. It's the newest office in the Department of Justice, and hopefully it's also the youngest and the most proactive ones. And I have with me one of our most hardworking state councils, S, was happily taking notes of questions that we can respond to. Hopefully that gives you a fair idea, an update of what's happening as they unfold in the battlefield, so to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assistant Secretary Horonomosi. What a great update. Let's give him a big hand, please. Sir, while you're holding the microphone, let me cite a few examples. So I was a victim, for example, or not me, or I wasn't a victim. I allegedly victimized people by the slide earlier by Sir Victor Lorenzo on friend in need. So for example, someone hacked my Yahoo personal email account and started emailing all of my contacts that I was stuck in London with and lost my wallet, lost my passport, and please send me immediately money through wire transfer and that sort. So people were calling me from all over the world asking if it was true. So as working in a telco, I had it traced, and it was traced to the Middle East. And so my question leads towards, there has been some incidents also in the BPO where a fraud happened in a BPO in another country and found out that after further investigation that it led to someone in the Philippines that actually stole the data but sold it to someone outside of the Philippines. So my question leads to, how does our agencies, the Department of Justice, the NBI, work with the international organizations or investigation units in terms of working together to put a close to the fraud or to the theft or crime that has happened, whether it be HIPAA on compliance in the healthcare industry or FBI type of investigations? Has that happened before? Is there a seamless coordination or collaboration between the Philippines and international organizations like that?
That modus operandi is what we call an online budol-budol. No,
Budol-budol.
there's a physical budol-budol. This is the online version. I'm sure everyone has received similar emails. No, do you know what is the success rate of such a type of email that actually people send money? Have you actually done it? Anyone here actually sent money? There are actually people who have done it. They actually send it, and they work through the law of probability. If they send it to 1,000 people, may isa lang dyan magpadala ng $500, quota ka na. No, it works through a mathematical equation. It's a very scientific play. But having said that, we have completed as of June 2015, 90% of all the international linkages that we need to do. The missing children database, Interpol, Europol. We only need one more to sign up with within the year. We would have covered 100% of all the global linkages that needs to be done. The linkage is, in the parlance, may tuhog. We know who to talk to. They know that they need to talk to us. No, that's what we need to do in the first year of our operation. So in terms of the linkage, it's there. What happens after we have that linkage is something we have to develop working together. And if the data was stolen here, it was used in Middle East, do not worry if it's used outside the country. The fact that it was stolen here, we already have citus, we already have jurisdiction. So that's not an issue. Don't worry about the perpetrator being outside. The case can be filed here. In the Cybercrime Prevention Act, this is a specific case of breach of the Part 1 of the violation of the Cybercrime Prevention Act. That's very clear. Our law is also good in the sense that we also are one of the few jurisdictions that cover identity theft. Not all jurisdictions cover that. This will also fall under that, and we need to test the legislation. Assuming you have filed the case and we find out that the offender or the perpetrator is outside in the Middle East, then we will institute international cooperation proceedings. That is the way to do it. It will take long haul, but at least it will not be operating under impunity. No? Ang ayaw lang natin is may krimen, may injustice, hinayaan lang natin. No? Even if the process takes longer because it's international border, it's never seamless in criminal justice. You would also be worried too if it's too seamless. But over time, it will have an effect X number of years down the road. And we are doing technology to monitor the cases, so you will not be burdened with finding out what's happening. You will just get an e-notification via text or email on the status of your complaint. But having said all of this, if it's a theft of your Yahoo account, of which you have been careless in not changing your password or making your password very simple, we will not prioritize your case. The priority will go to the 5 work streams that I mentioned. especially on protection of children and women. I hope you understand that, no? Because if you
Yes.
act on all the password thefts of all Yahoo, Gmail, wala na kaming gagawin. Yun na lang, which is a
Yes.
disservice to the rest of the major and priority cases. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assistant Secretary. So I have a question for Jay, who works for Cognizant. So Jay, I have two questions. Does BPO in the Philippines or contact centers really file cases on or file complaints that leads to cases on data theft or fraud or any malicious activity that's being done by an agent in the BPO? Second question related to that is, are BPOs actually, because I have not really seen something blown up in the Philippines in the news. So the second one is, are BPOs or contact centers actually has a resistance in filing these type of cases due to reputational risk?
Okay, thank you for your question, Mitch. So I'll just give a disclaimer first, okay?
Okay.
So I'm an infrastructure guy, but I'm also a security guy.
Yes.
But on top, to my knowledge, in the BPO industry, normally cases of fraud of any kind, are actually handled internally first.
Yes.
Because for most companies, they have actually laid out policies and plans and mitigations on how to address these kinds of issues. And then vis-a-vis, they're also working with their own clients because, for example, if the client says, now we will handle this, internally as well within their own, company parameters, then so be it. Because you have to really protect, the company that you are, your clients, your clients, and you have to also protect your own company. As far as I am aware, and I really can't speak about,
Yes.
because I'm not really the HR legal
Yes.
person. I know up to a certain extent they would file probably cases, but as to the case, move forward up to conviction, that one I don't really have, any information or any statistics. Probably Sir Vic here or Secretary would have some information. But as far as the industry is concerned, probably there might be, some cases that have been filed because we're for sure there have been fraudulent activities have been discovered and
Correct.
have been handled. But since the industry itself, they're really good in actually making sure that the employees are actually aware of information security and how to handle such situations and awareness is really the key, right?
Yes.
If the employees are
Completely
aware on
agree.
how to protect client data, then the instances wherein this kind of what they call fraudulent activities would happen is actually very minimal compared to the number of associates working in the industry. For example, we're 1 million, right, on the BPO industry. So I think there are cases, but not so much that it would really be a news like broadcasted in
Correct.
CNN or BBC.
Yes. Thank you. So, which leads to my next question for Sir Victor Lorenzo. Sir Victor, being the head in the NBI for cybercrime, could you share with us, has there been a lot of contact centers and BPOs that have actually filed cases already? And if they did, have they pursued it until a verdict has been pronounced and there was fines and someone was put to jail, for example?
Sir, once in a while we handle cybercrime cases referred by the contact centers.
Yes.
Just last week we handled a case wherein an employee stole some personal information and passed it on to members of a syndicate who used it to purchase, to do their purchases online. As I mentioned in my presentation, sir, it will be a balancing act on the part of the business whether they're going to refer an internal case with the law enforcement or not. But yes, sir, once in a while we handle cases being referred to us.
Yes. And BPOs do pursue the cases, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Because you'll be using the subscriber base of Smart, no? Would that be prepaid and postpaid? Firstly, that's my first question.
Yeah. Basically, we have insight services that includes both prepaid and postpaid subscribers. There are certain services that is limited to postpaid, but in general, especially like if you talk about footfall analysis, origin and destination studies, if you want to do site selections, that encompasses both prepaid and postpaid services. No. Now, for demographic segmentation, that's a little bit tricky because we actually need to have a lot more information about the subscribers to even do demographic segmentation. So a large part of it is postpaid, but some part of it, especially for prepaid subscribers, where we've actually done a bit of profiling. We infer, for example, that some prepaid subscribers are BPO or contact center agents primarily because we've created patterns, or we've seen patterns within the network that they work between 1 a.m. to 7, 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day, and they literally are seen in the network in areas where there are contact center BPO locations, no? So, when you do big data, it's really more of inferencing. You do a lot of basically, you infer. It's not an exact science, but we suggest that these are people that are BPO contact center agents. Okay, based on patterns, based on habits, etc.
Okay, would you be able to, how would you guarantee the safety of the data that's going to be used?
Okay. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier, and it's actually an opportune time because we have the Assistant Secretary of the DOJ and the NBI here. No, we actually have a huge legal team that is looking into our big data strategy. No? In fact, we've built a governance policy with regards to how data is actually managed or controlled. Now, one good thing to note when it comes to big data, or what data is actually we can actually share or provide to even our customers, is that these are all anonymized data. Okay, when we say it's anonymized data, there is no personally identifiable data that is attributed to that individual. Okay, so if we see that in the network, if we do footfall analysis, these are basically dots within the network. We provide statistics, we provide reports to you, but we cannot provide subscriber information. Now, if there are certain, we've actually encountered certain opportunities wherein customers ask, "Oh, John, can we have this? Can you provide this profile?" That is where our legal team actually comes in. Now, this is something that was shared to us by our chairman, MVP. We have to ensure the privacy of individuals, especially the subscribers. And we should be in the forefront in protecting said data. Okay? That's why, again, in any opportunity, especially those, especially new requests, we really work with our legal team to ensure if this information can be provided or not. Okay?
Thank you, John. Which leads me to my next question, and this one's for Jong. If the buzzword kasi has been all about cloud. Let me rephrase it. Has all been about digital space, which is mobility, cloud, analytics, social media, and the like. So how secure is the digital space?
Well, if we're talking of the digital space for our clients, it's very secured both logically and physically. Physically, in a way, because we have multiple layers of protection in place. I cannot divulge you on the different processes, but it's there, and we have a consolidated, for example, a request. A client wanted to visit our facility or wanted to have a site tour with our Alpha team, we have a consolidated request being given to our help desk. So meaning, even the actual employees working behind this technology, they are not, the clients are not privy. So, and even the clients, they are covered, and we are covered as well with NDAs. So, on a logical standpoint, our group have invested so much, and you know that there's a lot of technology, redundant technologies to protect client information. So when it comes to protection, we can give 100% assurance, but it's a continuing effort, both from us being the service provider and also our clients, because it's actually two-way.
Yes.
Protecting the client information is actually a mutual effort on both parties.
Yes. Thank you.
In terms of protection, how do we protect the Philippine-based company, the SMEs, for that matter? Because we have a lot of SMEs who have problems with American company or companies like doing business abroad that who run away. They didn't pay them, but because of their SME in the Philippines, they don't have enough, resources to go after. Is there a way that the Department of Justice can help these SMEs, BPO SME companies?
Thank you, Joe. Two levels. One, if it's a purely commercial transaction, where it's a straight-up transaction, and for whatever reason, the other contracting party fails to deliver, then we probably will not touch it. But if it is a species of fraud, the element of pagloloko, you misrepresent, will take action on that. But as you said, given the SME, the capacity to mount a legal claim, to do the whole range of claimant, at the very least is in the same way that we can work with all the databases. We have excellent relationship with not only American DOJ, but it's totally a global network of law enforcement. So at the very least, if we see, quote-unquote, a pattern, we could probably do a checklist. If it hits X amount, let's say $100,000 for Y company, say 3